Right, let me make sure this stream is going out and that I've got the chat up and running. Oh, here we go. Receiving your content. You are live. Perfect. Right. Hey, we can see me. Bear with me 1 second. Let me get the phone streaming it so I can actually see the chat when it comes in. Right, here we go. So, hi, I'm Stewie3D. And in this stream I'm going to show you how to use free and open source software, namely the OBS Studio, to set up streaming for either Twitch or YouTube or whatever service you want to stream to. Now I have Skazius SK4 to thank for this, because up until about a week ago I was a complete and utter noob and had a basic knowledge of how to set up OBS for basic streaming, but yeah, with Skazius's guidance I've been able to set it up a lot more powerful, so I can set all different scenes up and different I've got a custom pause screen and everything, and it's all hotkeyed in, so it's yeah, it's very useful bit of kit, and the best thing of all, it's absolutely free. So right, first thing you're going to want to get, I'm doing this on my MacBook because I've not set up OBS properly on my MacBook. I'm not going to be doing it on the Omen because that's all set up and tweaked how I like it. So yeah, so what we're going to do, you need to download Open Broadcaster software from the obsproject.com. This is multi-platform, so Linux, Mac and Windows. So once you've downloaded that and installed it, you'll have it in your start menu somewhere, and I've just accidentally fired up iTunes. That was never a good idea. Hey, that was this is me going live. Right, so yeah, you've got OBS set up. So what you now need to do is set up your streaming parameters. So I stream to YouTube with me live dashboard, and I'm having technical difficulties. There we go. Still getting used to the Mac trackpad over the Omens one. Right, so yeah, with OBS, Twitch and YouTube, you'd have to go in and manually set up the name of the stream first. So as you can see, how to set up OBS for streaming with hotkeys and pause screens. So that's it. So what you need to do is get your stream key from there. I'm not going to reveal mine because then everyone will be able to stream to my channel. So yeah, stream key there. And then what you then do is you go into settings, and then into stream, you choose your server which you're going to stream to, and paste your stream key into there. So next thing, you need to know what your upload speed is. On a service like YouTube, you can upload at pretty much an unlimited bandwidth, whereas I believe Twitch is it now upgraded to about 6 meg or something like that. Either way, if you're using YouTube like me, you want to be getting the most out of your bandwidth. So you need to know what your bandwidth actually is. So bear with me. So this is my VDSL modem. And here we go. So that upstream is my rate there. That's my upstream rate. So that's what, 8.3 megabits. So in OBS, I actually stream at 6,000 kilobits, because you don't want to be maxing out your upload. The biggest problem is people will set it to 8,000 thinking, well, we've got an 8 meg upload, but the problem is if you completely saturate your upload, you lose all your internet connection, because any other device on your network then can't actually send the data it requires to various websites to get it to download and whatnot. So yeah, so you set your bit rate to, in my case, 6,000, but if you've got a higher upload, set it higher, or if you're using Twitch, set it to obviously what they do. I believe it's 6 meg now. It used to be 3.5. Now, as you can see, you've got encoders here. Now, I'm on the Mac, so I don't have a dedicated graphics card. So, as you can see, I've got software X264 or hardware QSV. Now QSV is what is called the Quick Sync encoder, which is built into the Intel HD graphics series. Now basically what that does is it takes away the encoding from the main processor. So if you want to dedicate more of your processing power to your stream, to your game, you then use the hardware encoder. On systems with an NVIDIA graphics card, there'll be one called NVENC. That's the NVIDIA encoder. That's what would be used if you were using Shadow Play. You've got QSV, which is the Intel one, and then you've got software X264. Now if you've got a multi-core processor like a Ryzen or a Core i7, go for software because it will give you better quality. However, if you've only got an i5 like I have got, which you don't have any spare cores to dedicate to streaming, then you want to be using one of the hardware ones. And so far with the bitrate and the settings that I use, I find the QSV encoder to be the better quality encoder. So you've got that set up. I just set it to quality, makes no difference there. But what you then need to do as well is for your video, change your base canvas resolution down to 720p. Now it's a bit of an odd one really. When I had it at 1080p, the base canvas resolution, your output scales down to 720. But yeah, when I had it at, it was basically when I first set up my Omen, I had the base canvas resolution set to 1920 by 1080 and then output 1280 by 720. But the problem I then had is every time I played 900p games, there was a black bar to the right and at the bottom of the game. Now if I was using the camera, that wasn't a problem, it actually looked pretty decent. However, if I just wanted to show the game without no camera feed by itself, then it just didn't look right at all. I couldn't make it full screen. However, if you set it to 720p canvas resolution and then output 720p, you are able to make a 900p game appear full screen on, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So right, so you've got your basic stream, so you put your key in there in your service, you set your output, so there's your upload and then your encoder, and then you've got your canvas and all that, and here's where you can change. If you've got the upload to do it, you can change it all the way up to 60 frames a second. So but that's only obviously if you've got the upload power to do it. So right, so that's that done. So now what you need to do is make scenes. So I've got a basic scene here, which is basically just my desktop background with my ugly mug in the bottom corner there. Now how you do that is, and we'll make another scene and we'll just duplicate it, so scene 2 we'll call it, but we'll desktop capture, right, with cam. So what you need, so what you now do, now when I change to this scene you will lose audio a minute, but I will explain why. So now we have audio back, but a black screen. Now this is where doing it live is quite fun. But what we now do is we hit the plus button in the middle window. So you've got the scene to the left, and you've got a middle window with sources. So you hit the plus button on the sources, and then we're going to choose display capture. Click that. Now you can either create new, which will then bring you to another screen, but because I've already got an existing one, I'm going to click the add existing and then hit display capture. Now as you can see, we have a display on the screen. Now you can click and drag and resize it and make it as big and as small as you want. So look, there you go, whee, up and down, you can make it as big and as small as you want. Now the reason we didn't get any audio when I switched scene, now this was a rookie mistake that I made. Normally OBS has a master mixer, and as you can see, microphone and aux is actually muted, and you're like, well, how am I hearing his microphone if the microphone in aux is muted? Well, as per scenes, you can add an audio input capture manually. Now this will be useful for when you want to create a pause screen, which I shall show you how to do in a minute. So you've got the audio input capture, so how to add it, click add, and then you click audio input capture, and then in my case add existing, but you can create new and then choose your microphone there. But I'm not going to do it again because I don't want to have microphoneception and have like 3 microphones on one source. So now we've got the screen set up, how we have it. So we're going to want to add my ugly mug. So bear with me, video capture device. Now we've already got one there, existing one, or we can create a new one. So I'll show you how to create a new one. So if you hit OK, then it will give you the camera options there, and then you can choose it and then whatever. But what we're going to do, because I've already got one, I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to remove that. But because we've already got, oh, turn the volume down there. But because we've already got an audio input a video device, we'll add it the existing one because that's already the camera. And watch what. So I'll pop the camera up there. So there you go. And click, drag, make it as big or as small as you want. So I like to offset my windows a bit. So my ugly mug is in the bottom corner there, and the window sort of just tucks the bottom corner in just behind it, so you're not losing too much of the data on the screen. So you've got, there you go, you've got the 2 windows there. Now if you want the fancy chat boxes and the subscriber boxes like that I have already, so on the newer streams that you've been seeing, whenever you've been saying hello, we've been getting a chat box pop up. So you want to sign up to something called Streamlabs. So you've got the chat box there, you sign into it, you just link it to your Twitch or your YouTube account, and then you'll get a browser URL there. Copy that, and what we do is we go into OBS, and then we add a browser source, create new. Now this is where it gets a bit technical, so you paste. Now how am I going to do this without everyone seeing my bloody chat URL? I didn't. What we're going to do, we'll make it 8 by 300, because that's the size I use on the Omens one, and we'll just leave the URL for there, because what I'm going to do, I don't want everyone looking at my chat URL. I'm going to shrink the desktop capture to nothing for the minute, and then that way you can still see what I'm doing, but you can't see the URL, I'm hoping. There we go, that's better. So if we go browser source, so what we're going to do, we shall add the browser source back. Bear with me. Paste your URL into the box there. Now as I said, I set it up to 800 by 300 because that works out to be quite a nice size. It fits the full 200 characters of YouTube's chat window in. And then I also like to have it refresh the browser when scene becomes active. You don't need to do it, but it's always nice to do. And then add that. Now let me make the desktop capture a bit bigger, and then we can show you. So right now desktop is back, and then you've got your browser source, which is that little box there. So I like to have mine at the bottom there, nestled next to my webcam. Now watch what happens now. If I now send a test message via the YouTube chat, bear with it 1 second, it does take a second or so to go through the server, and can you see test now pops up? So yeah, the test message now pops up, and then you'll probably see it again in a few seconds on the stream. But yeah, so that's how you set the test box up. The Streamlabs also has an alert box which you can set up, so you can make, so when everyone donates, subscriber and all of that stuff, it's the same thing happens as you do with the chat. So basically, that's Streamlabs set up now. So we've got a basic scene. Now at this point, you could happily launch a game and go into it and start playing. Just a thought though, this laptop didn't show it because I've only got one graphics adapter in. But when you set up display capture, make sure you click the button which says multi-adapter compatibility, which basically means, oh no, wait a minute, no. Is that, yeah, if there's a button for multi-adapter compatibility, you need to tick it, because basically what it then does is it allows the Intel GPU to capture from the NVIDIA and vice versa. So depending on what encoder and stuff you're using. But yeah, we've got a basic scene here. Now I could happily go in and game. You'd see the chat go over, you'd see my ugly mug, and you'd see the game behind it. So that's all good. But now, you want to go take a dump in the middle of your stream, but you don't want to cancel your stream and start again. Or you got family emergency, or you get a phone call. I always get bloody phone calls. The minute I hit the stream button, my bloody phone's always ringing. So, yeah. So what you then do, if you want to add a custom pause screen, you click Add, Scene 2, I've just unmuted the microphone on that one. So we've got a black screen at the moment. Now what we then do is we hit the plus button on the sources. Just choose image. Now I've already created an image. I literally just made the image on Microsoft Paint. Browse for your image file. Mine is on my network drive because I just dumped it across from the Omen. And then basically you add the image. There you go, it's be right back. Now because you've got the main microphone muted anyway, you wouldn't be normally hearing my voice at this point. So basically, I'm going to mute the mic again and go back to the desktop capture with cam. So we've got the desktop capture with the camera, with the chat box and stuff, and scene 2 is the pause screen. So you hit the plus, then you add the image, and then you go image, and then you browse for the image there to do it. So I'll show you on this one because we're not on the pause screen anymore. So create new, hit OK, hit browse for image, and then hit the be right back. And then that basically is it, and then you can then put that on your screen and resize it to how you want it. So so that's that. And then basically whenever you change source, so this is the audio input capture running. Note the microphone is muted. Yeah, I did turn it manually back on when I created the pause screen so I could talk you through it. But then if you switch to scene 2, and then switch back to scene 1. There you go, desktop capture a cam. That's your hello, I'm gaming, I'm streaming, I'm doing this. See? Back again. So that's how you do that. You can also, which I did on my Omen, add the browser source for your chat box on your pause screen. So if people are still there chatting away, the messages will still come up over your pause screen. So now we have 2 scenes. So we've got a basic streaming setup here. So now what we want to do is we want to be able to initiate and control these when you're in the game. So this is where the hotkeys come in. Now I did try Control Shift, that didn't work. I find that Alt Shift works is as good hotkeys. So Alt Shift 1 I use for start. Alt Shift 2 is stop. So there you go, there's your scene name there. So the one we just created on the stream, desktop capture with cam. So I'm going to put that as Alt Shift 4. And then scene 2 is the pause screen, Alt Shift 3. So there we go, there you've got your scenes set up. Apply those hotkeys, Now you launch OBS and go into a game, those hotkeys should take over. I'm not going to use Alt Shift 1 and 2 because obviously that would stop the stream whilst I'm on it. However, Alt Shift, your phone now rings, or you suddenly got the urge for a dump or whatever. Alt Shift 3. And then Alt Shift 4 brings you straight back in. So now you've got a basic streaming setup. Now OBS is a ridiculously powerful bit of kit. There's loads you can do with it. But yeah, with Scene 2, I can't switch to it without the whole thing pausing. But with Scene 2, all you will have is just image. This red box here, that is the browser source. That is basically, see where your chat is coming in. If you keep chatting away, that red box will fill up with your chat. So look, let me show you. I'll do test, test, test. See what I mean? See? That pops up, and that's basically the chat window. And when you're on a stream, your chat window, your chat will go up that far on the screen. So yeah, you use a service called Streamlabs.com. Sign in with your YouTube or whatever, and then you'll get that. Gives you access to all of them services that you need. And then yeah, you then create the browser source to put the chat on the screen for you. It's a good way to interact with the audience, because obviously if I'm doing like a podcast style episode, if someone talks to me and I go off on a random subject about the Omen or whatever, it now, with having the chat, it then makes a lot of sense. Yeah, as you can see, it's pretty handy actually. So yeah, you've got the two scenes there. There is a third scene. We're going to be losing again. You're going to go for a black screen now while I manually create the third scene. Now, I find this is the way you need to, if you want to capture non-native games. So if you're, say, playing a 900p game on a 1080p screen, there is another way you can capture it. So at the moment, I always use desktop capture because I find that to be the easiest way. It doesn't have to link into the game. Literally, it just repeats what's on the screen. However, you can use a scene called game capture, and then what that does, it says use any full screen application, and then use the multi-adapter compatibility, and then you make the scene with it there, and then you, as I said, just hotkey them all. It's a case of now experimenting with it, but the big things to take from this is mute the master mic and aux, because that will always go no matter what scene you're on. If you yeah, I'll go back over the encoder settings for you in a minute, Charlie. But yeah, if you mute the master mic and aux, because that will constantly go no matter what scene you've got on. So even if you put your pause screen up, if that's not muted, that mic will be hot. So what you then do is you create the microphone source, as you can see, as a separate audio input capture, and then you manually add it to any scenes you want to be talking on, because obviously you don't want your microphone to be hot whilst you got your pause screen up, because nobody ain't going to want to hear your phone calls, and nobody going to want to hear you taking a shit or whatever, so you don't want to be doing that. So yeah, make sure the master microphone and aux is muted. Desktop audio, I find, is best to have around about 5 decibels lower than your audio input capture, because obviously if you're playing a game with lots of explosions and stuff and you're talking over it, if you have the desktop audio cranked all the way up, the game can drown out your voice. It is also tied to the volume of your laptop as well, I find. So if you have the volume quiet on your laptop, people will be like, why can't I hear the game, why can't I hear the game? So on the Omen, I tend to play the games at around about 30-40 on the Windows volume slider, and then have the desktop audio set to about -5 there. I find that's the sort of sweet spot where I get the audio from there. So Yes, for you, Charlie, the encoder settings. So you go to settings. Now you go to output and then video bitrate. Now on YouTube, if you are streaming to YouTube, I do believe, as I said earlier, they can you can go all the way up to as high as you want with the encoder settings, whereas Twitch are a bit more funny. They only limit you. I believe they have upped the bitrate recently, so you can stream it up to 6,000, but yeah, YouTube you can stream unlimited. However, do not max out your upload connection. Mine is set to 6,000 because my upload in this house is about 8,500. So you don't want to be putting it any higher than that, because obviously if you do, then your internet grinds to a halt. If you max out the upload, you won't. The download won't work either. The whole internet just grinds to a halt if you kill your upload off. So obviously it's all tied into your internet connection. If you've got a crappy internet connection, then you're going to want to lower that. If you've got a decent one, like fibre to the premises or whatever, you can crank that all the way up, and yeah, you'd be great. Audio, I've never really seen the need to mess around with anything. You can do all the push to talk and stuff like that. I've not personally, I don't use push to talk. I just, as I said, I use the hotkeys to switch between a pause scene or whatever. In the video output, you can change to 30, 48, 60 frames a second. You can put in it. You can even dial it down if you want to put 15 frames a second if you really want. But as I said, I find to change the base canvas resolution to 720, it just makes setting games up. I found with when I played Mafia 3, which I play in 900p, to get rid of the black bars, it wouldn't work if you had the base canvas resolution set to 1080p, which is what the native of the Omen screen is. Whereas if I set it to 720p and then in the game capture windows hit the force scaling button, which I shall show you here. So you're right, you go game capture, alright, create new. So capture any full screen application, hit multi-adapter compatibility and force scaling, and then force it to scale to 1280 by 720, and then basically it will scale the game for you. So if you're playing a 1080p, it'll scale it down 900p, and it will fit all the games to the window. Yes, when I stream the games, I open OBS first, fire up Steam, choose the game I want. Once the game loads, then I've got the hotkeys enabled them, and the hotkeys will always work, or should most of the time work, depending on the games you're playing. And then literally, as soon as the game fires up, Alt-Shift-1 starts the stream, and then Alt-Shift-2 ends the stream. Alt-Shift, and as I said, Alt-Shift-3, 4. You can choose whatever buttons you want. So if you wanted, say, Alt-Shift-S for start, and, I don't know, Alt-Shift-E for end, if that makes more sense to you, and Alt-Shift flipping C for camera enabled stream, because obviously you can stream how you want. So I mean, if we wanted to do a stream without a camera, we make a another scene, desktop capture, no cam, we'll do this one. Gonna lose audio momentarily, 1 second. And I'm back, and there you go, you've got a desktop capture with no camera. Yeah, that's what I thought when I first attempted to start streaming with OBS, when Skaz was teaching me how to do it. It's quite simple once you got it set up, but yeah, I'm probably not doing a very good job at explaining it, because I'm trying to do it live at the same time, because I've got no other way of capturing my desktop without using OBS, so I have to be using it to show you it. Whereas if I had a capture card, I could capture my desktop on another machine and show you absolutely everything. So there are bits where the screen's going black while I'm trying to set up the next scene, and it's just yeah, it's a bit of a ball ache. But 1 second. So we're going to go back into the hotkeys. So I've just created another scene, so desktop capture without cam. And we're going to assign that to Alt-Shift-5. Oh no, Windows Shift-5 now. damn it, wrong button. With the right, so we want, oh, dang it, Alt Shift 5. There we go. Apply that. So now, if we do Alt Shift 4, oh, cancel, bollocks. Alt Shift 4. Hey, my ugly mug's back. Alt Shift 5 is desktop. Alt Shift 4. Hey. Alt Shift 5, desktop. Alt Shift 3 when you get a phone call or go to take a. Alt Shift 4 and you're back in the room. Alt Shift 5 if you don't want anyone to see your ugly mug and you just want to talk over the games like I've been doing recently with Metal Gear. So yeah. Yeah, it's a very complicated bit of software, but it's very powerful. That's why it's so complicated. There are so many different settings. And this is just setting it up for streaming. You can set this up to do full-on recording, desktop capture and recording and game recording. If you wanted to do a review of the game without doing it live, you can actually use it to fully record. I'm not going to go into the recording settings though, because I've not really played with the recording side of things. But yeah, OBS is very, very powerful. And there's so many different things to do, but the big one, as I said, if you want to make hot swappable scenes without your mic, is make sure the master microphone, you can't remove it unfortunately from the mixer, but make sure your master microphone and aux is disabled there, and you create your microphone and aux via the audio input there. Otherwise, basically, you've got a hot mic on every scene, which you don't really want. You want the audio input capture there. And I think that's about it, really. Yeah, as I said, oh god, if you've got, well, what you'd have to do is you'd have to assign the keys to something else. You can get a Elgato maker, but it's like £100, and it's like this little USB little mini screen thing, and you can tap away at it, and you've got all the live streaming hotkey commands and stuff on it. But it's a really expensive bit of kit when you can assign OBS to do it for free. But you just have to find combinations of keys which won't interfere with the game. I find Alt Shift and then the number keys work for me. On the Omen, I've got it as Alt Shift 1 for the for starting the stream. Alt Shift 2 stops the stream. Alt Shift 3 is my pause screen. Alt Shift 4 is my just game capture with no camera. Alt Shift 5 is game capture no camera but for 900p games, and then Alt Shift 9 is 900p games with camera, and then Alt Shift 0 is 1080p. I've got loads of scenes set up on the Omen because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes there, because when I'm using the camera I like to have this black bar at the bottom, so it's sort of, the camera's not obliterating a lot of the screen, it's only taking out the smallest chunk of it. So I like to offset it a bit like that. So if you're doing it with a 1080p game, you want it set sort of like that. And then if you want to set it for 900p games, you have to max out the screen, because where 900p games don't fill the screen, you'll get the black bars by themselves anyway. That's why I've got two settings for it. And yeah, OBS is actually probably is the best bit of software you can use for live streaming. Nvidia has Shadow Play, but I've found that to be, Shadow Play is easy if you just want a basic start a stream, stop a stream, and it's there. But unfortunately, Nvidia's Shadow Play has been a bit rubbish lately. Whenever I've been trying to play games, because I've had to lower my bitrate because my upload speed has dropped significantly in recent times. I've had to lower my upload bitrate to 6000, and if I do 60 frames a second at that bitrate, the picture quality just looks arse. But for some reason Shadow Play is having trouble downscaling from 60 frames to 30 frames. It makes the motion look a bit blurry and headache inducing, so I switched to OBS when I got the extra RAM in the Omen, because you do need the extra RAM. Some games, if you have OBS open and you've only got the 8 gig, it won't work very well. I find 12 gig in the Omen with the OBS works brilliantly. Every game works absolutely fine with it. As I said, I've been playing Metal Gear Solid, the Phantom Pain, with it recently. It's been absolutely brilliant. So but yeah, if you pay for streaming software, unless you're going to do it professionally and flipping sit there with your green screen and you have your face hovering over your disembodied face hovering over your game, and like some of these professionals do it, then you might want something a wee bit more powerful. But for most people, OBS is going to be more than enough. As I said, you spend stupid amounts on a PC. You don't want to be spending another 200-300 quid or whatever on streaming software, when OBS can do it, just do a brilliant enough job. And if you, as I said, you could go even further. You could set up a green screen behind you and maybe get OBS to capture but it's all well above my head. Skazius is the one who really knows this software like the back of his hand. And Skazius has always been a massive supporter of free and open source software. And as I said, if it weren't for me speaking to him last week and getting his tech support, then yeah, there's no way I'd be half as competent with OBS as I am now. But yeah, actually though, for a bit of streaming software, OBS, you cannot go far. You can't go wrong at all. For the cost of zero. Get your hotkeys set up, get your scenes set up, and jobs are good. As I said, my pause screen, yeah, I think that's the case for anyone, isn't it? But my pause screen, I literally downloaded a Sega font and literally just stuffed it into Microsoft Paint over a white background. Stewie 3D will be right back, and it looks really good. To be honest with you, if you wanted to, you could probably set up to play a little jingle when you're on your pause screen, but personally I'll just leave the desktop audio capture, and yeah, and just leave the game audio playing. So 1 second, it's SK, bear with me a second, SK4ZZIO0US. I've got him linked on that's how he spells it. I've got him linked on my channel as one of the featured pages. But Skazius is my best mate, been my best mate for the past 16 years. We went to school together. He is a proper PC gaming guru. Gaming PCs. If he's forgotten more about PCs and PC gaming and gaming in general than I've ever known, that guy is a flipping, honestly, he's my go-to guy. If I need help with anything, if Skazius doesn't know how to do it, I don't think it's possible to do it. But yeah, he's got his daily vlog, he does, and he does all of that with free and open source software. He pointed me to a bit of software called Caden Live. And I've used it for a couple of my videos where I've done sort of like a video with my iPhone capturing a bit of equipment, and then I've done like a stream with it. So, but yeah, no, not a problem, Sidewinder. Hopefully this helps. I tried to capture as much as I could, but the problem is when I'm when I'm creating the scenes, the screen disappears. So it's like, oh god, how do I show you how to create the scene when the screen is gone? So yeah, I'm hoping though this has worked. But yeah, as I said, the big one, mute that, create it again, because as I said, if you don't, then yeah, you've got a live mic at all times. But yeah, if you haven't done it though, guys, sign up for that Streamlabs. It's free. Just sign in with your account, and literally they give you the little URL you can paste in, and you get all your chat overlay up, which is pretty awesome. I thought that was pretty cool. And they also give you a donate link as well, which is in the description below. And then if anyone donates to the channel with PayPal or whatever, some little zombie dude sort of runs along the screen going, dude has donated or has subscribed to your channel, which is pretty awesome. Although he won't do it now, so if anyone donates whilst I'm doing this stream right now, it ain't going to work because I've not set it up. But you'll get the idea. It's pretty good though. As I said, that Streamlabs is pretty useful. I did have that for Twitch back in the day, but I never used it. I was originally going to start doing Twitch streaming from this MacBook actually, back when I was only playing retro games. But yeah. And to anyone who's seen my stream the other day about how I violated my MacBook, this is the MacBook and it runs absolutely fantastic. Sticking Windows 10 on it and stripping out Mac OS has actually has reinvigorated it, you know. So it runs so much better. But anyway, I'm hoping this rather long stream at 40 minutes has got everything you need in it. I think I've covered it. So you get your stream key from YouTube or Twitch. You put that in your stream settings there. You set your output. Make sure you're not maxing out your bitrate. Make sure you, or if you're doing it to Twitch, make sure you obey their bitrate. I use QSV, which is the hardware encoder, the Intel one, because I don't have enough processing power to actually use software. If you have got enough processing power, i.e. Sidewinder Snake, where your unlocked Core i7, overclocked and all your cooling, you could probably get away with using software encoding, which will give you a far better picture quality. Video, make sure you set your canvas resolution, because most of you are going to be streaming at 720p anyway. Set your canvas resolution to 720p because it sorts out any compatibility issues with games at non-native resolutions. So like for me, when I'm running Mafia 3 on my Omen's 1080p screen at 900p, it solves that black bar issue. Your hotkeys are there. Control and Shift doesn't work. I've tried that. I find Alt Shift works really well. So Alt Shift, you could probably get away with just putting Alt 1, Alt 2, but I find Alt Shift works in my case. Advanced, I've never gone into this menu. You could probably make it do all sorts of random crap, but oh, that's it. No, advanced. One thing I did forget, set that to high on the processor, because if you don't, then even if you are using hardware encoding like I am, you will get dropped frames. If you set that to high, as you can see, it's only using 9% processor on a 5-year-old Mac. That's with the hardware encoding. So as you can imagine, on the Omen, having this one in the background with hardware encoding doesn't use any processor, pretty much no processor at all. But if you don't set that to high, your games such as Mafia 3 or Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which will 100% your processor, will cause your stream to start going a bit slideshowy. So make sure you go to the advanced. I totally forgot about that. So yeah, make sure you go to the advanced settings and set your process priority to high. If you don't, then yeah, some games will cause the old stream of the old slideshow effect. That's awesome. I don't know what your upload is, but if you're streaming at 1080-60, that is pretty awesome. So yeah, and then once you've done all your basic setup there, you can then go in and customize your scenes. It's your scenes that are important. So as you can see, desktop capture with no cam. You got your browser source, which is your chat window. Game capture is actually not needed on that one. So you got your browser source, which is your chat window. Video capture device, which is my ugly mug down there. Also, make sure the order it goes in there, the order you go down there is the order it will appear on screen. So look, make sure your video capture device is above your display capture, because if I move the display capture above video capture, as you can see, the display is now covering my ugly mug. Likewise, if you move the display above the browser source, then any chat window will be behind the screen. So you want the browser source at the top, because that's obviously, you want your chat window above everything. Then you want your camera, because you want to be covering that bottom corner. Then you want your display capture, which is there. The display capture needs to go at the bottom of the pile. And then audio input just goes wherever, because it's audio. It just pops the setting up there. So yeah, I believe I've covered everything with this. But yeah, just make sure you put the order right. I know I've probably waffled on too much. I'm hoping I've covered everything, and at least covered everything 2 or 3 times. So if anyone has got any issues, then obviously leave a comment and I'll try and answer it as best I can. And if not, I'll find out from Scazius and answer then. But yeah, I'm going to finish this stream for now, and hopefully this video has been very helpful. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.